reset, rebase. We learned all the by creating a branches, by tagging the branch, and create and checkout, right? So create and checkout we do it in remotely, but revert, reset, dropping a commit, editing commit message, we cannot run it in remotely. That repository we call it as bare repo. And the non-bare repo, so where we can run all the Git operations like your rebase, committing, and dropping a commit, editing commit message, revert, reset in locally. That we call it as non-bare repo. Now, so I'll go to the remote now. So I'll log in GitLab. Able to see my GitLab account, GitLab page.
Yes, sir.
Okay, maybe I'm on different screen. Okay, so this is my GitLab account. It's my password. Okay, so I have this account created. I see GitLab and GitHub both are same. According to your convenient, you can start using it. Okay, either you can use GitLab or GitHub to work remotely. All are same. GitLab, GitHub, and Bitbucket. 42479. Okay, let me explain this overview of GitLab. So this is my GitLab account. So where I have the project get created. Yes, there are 4 projects which I have created. Okay, and this has been created on 2022, and this is on some dates. Okay, and there are 4 repositories in it. This is my GitLab account. So if I go to this pipeline E2E, okay, if I click on this, I have this files and folders are get created over here, and also I have my shell script stored in it. Okay, this is my GitLab account. So here, if you can see, there are in the left side you can see manage, plan, and the code. If you can click on code, here you can see merge request, repository, branches, commits, and tag. These 3 are very important. See in GitHub also you can see in GitHub also you can see repository, branches, commits, and tag. Okay, now this is my repository. This repository we call it as what? According to this definition. Accept. Yes. Okay. So according to this definition, so what is this one?
Bare repo.
Bare repo. So what we have definition for bare repository?
We cannot run Git operation.
Can only pull and push code.
It means so we can run only pull and push, means this is the bare repository. So where we here, so where we do only push and pull to remote. Okay, so how do we do push and pull? Okay, this repository when it comes to locally we call it as non-bare repo. Okay, the similar repository, let's say there are 4 repositories in my account. Okay, demo, Jenkins. Okay, Jenkins will guide later. So for the demo purpose I have created it. Okay, pipeline E2E and share library. These 4 repositories when it comes to locally we call it as non-bare repository. The similar repository we keep it in remotely, we call it as bare repository. So in bare we are aware of it, we cannot run any git operations, only push and pull. But in non-bare we can run git operations, right? Now if I go here, so if you can click on code, you can see repository branches. Okay, and if you click on the branches, this repository will be having main branch, feature branch, and there are other stale branches. Okay, let's remove all this. Okay, you can also see the list of branches in remote itself. Okay, now how do we connect this local to remote, right? So I have my git bash here, and I want to interact with local, from local to remote. Okay, so this is my local, right? So this is my local. How do I interact with local to remote, and how do I clone the repository, and how do I see? You were able to see I have cloned it locally with a similar repository here. So if you click on repository, so pipeline E2E is my project. I have cloned it locally, right? Now I'll remove pipeline E2E. Okay, I have removed it. I'll also remove app.txt. Let's keep it empty. ls-e. Okay. Now, how do I connect this remote to a local? Okay. So to connect it local to remote, we'll have to use via SSH keys. How do we generate SSH key? Shabas.
Keygens, SSH hyphen keygen.
Correct. So we'll generate a key, SSH hyphen keygen. Okay. So we'll run this command. Able to see my screen? I'm generating a key in locally. So where we need to connect remote. Okay. So SSH hyphen keygen. Okay. So no need to enter anything. Just press enter until it generates the SSH key. Now, where our keys are stored?
.ssh.
Yes, under .ssh, right? So now let's move to .ssh, cd to .ssh. Users. Go on mute, please. cd to .ssh will. What happened, Suhas? Want to say something?
Okay. No, nothing. My mistake.
Are you wishing somebody? Okay, let's move to this. Where is our .ssh? .ssh is here. Let's move to .ssh. Okay, so there are public and private keys are get created. So when we should look for the keys are get created on 6th of Jan, right? So there are two files are get created on 6th of Jan. Okay, so we'll use which key we gonna use?
Hi, sir.
Public keys.
Public key.
Yes.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
There are two public keys are there, no, sir? What is that
Hmm.
ID underscore RSA, sir? How, when it got generated?
No, not today. This is on 7th, right? This is on 11th.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a old, right? So how it is by default keys or how, sir?
Yes, by default, the keys. No, not by default. By running this command only. Earlier, it was creating ID underscore RSA. Okay.
Okay.
Now it is creating ID underscore ED followed by some number dot pub. So it is created on September 11th, right? But
Okay,
today's
sir.
is Jan 6th. That's what I told. We'll have to
Okay.
look for the today's keys, Jan 6th, correct?
Okay, sir.
And this was created on the old and very old.
Okay.
Okay, and now we'll have to look for cat id underscore ed dot pub. So we'll have to copy the public key into the GitLab, because to connect remotely, we'll have to go with the keys only, right? Public key. So where we need to connect, we'll have to go here, click on profile, click on edit profile. Okay, so go under SSH keys. Okay, and click on add new key and copy the key here, and title you keep it anything, and the expiration date you keep it 2027 for next 1 year. Okay, add key. So today's date is 1/6/2026, right? 27 6 6th of Jan for next year. So automatically it is taking expiration date for 1 year from today. Okay, let it be. Let's click on add key. So now the keys are getting added. Okay, now let's go to the repository key. Okay, now we have configured with the keys. We have configured with local to remote. Okay, now let's go to home. Where is the projects? This is my project. Sorry, not shared. And this is my project. And this, see, once you configured whatever the project that you have in your GitLab, you will be able to clone all 4 repositories. Okay, so before cloning it, let's learn what is this clone and what is this push and pull. Okay, now let's learn one by one. So these are all the commands. Okay, git clone. I'm going to explain git clone, then we'll clone a repository and we'll do git operations locally. And let's learn the difference between bare repo and non-bare repo. Why we call it as we cannot run git operations in remotely, and we can run git operations in modify it in local itself. Why we call it as. Okay, now git clone is basically command. Okay, so it will bring the changes from remote repo to local workspace for the first time. Okay, so it will bring the changes. Are you guys following me?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it will bring the changes from remote repo to local workspace for first time. Okay, so basically git clone, it will bring the changes from remote repo to local workspace. Okay, local workspace for the first time. Remote repo means, what is our remote repo? Where you will use the repository in GitLab or GitHub or Bitbucket. See, I'm going to explain all 3 remote Git here: GitLab, GitHub, and Bitbucket. Okay, you can match according to your requirement. So currently I'm using it here as GitLab, and suppose if you get created with GitHub, it will be the same. Suppose if you get created with Bitbucket, is also same, or GitLab is also same. Okay, there is no difference. Only in the GitLab we use YAML for the CI/CD pipeline and GitHub Actions in GitHub. Okay, now how do we use this git clone command to bring the changes from remote repo to the local workspace? Okay, so here is the command git clone followed by URL of the repository. Okay, so URL of the, I'll give this way, URL of the repo. Okay, so what is this URL of the repo? Where do we get this URL of the repo? So we get it this from the repository itself. So if I go click on this my project, if you click on the code, if you click on the code here, you will see clone with SSH, clone with HTTPS. Similarly, you can also see it in GitHub, clone with SSH, clone with HTTPS. Similarly, if you can look on this Bitbucket, you can see both clone with SSH, clone with HTTPS. There is no difference. The URL will start from SSH and the URL starts with HTTPS. Do you see this? HTTPS, and this is for SSH. And always we go for SSH only. Why? Because we configured our keys from local to remote. Getting my point? Here we will get URL of the repository. Okay. So here what I'm going to do, SSH use SSH or HTTPS. Either way you can clone it. Okay. So let's learn all clone, push, pull, and fetch. Then we'll go play with all the commands. Okay. Now I'm going to explain git push, git push. So what is this git push? See, the name itself is saying push. We are pushing something to where? It's used to push local repo changes to remote repo. That's it. Okay. So it is used to, okay, it is used to push the local, okay, it is used to push the local repo changes to remote repo. Okay, so that we call it as git push, and the command we use here is git push followed by URL of the repo. URL of the repo. Okay, so URL you had been set already. So where we use git push followed by the same URL where we clone our repository. Okay, clone, understand clearly, it will bring the changes from remote repo to local workspace for the first time. Okay, if the repos exist, it will not clone. Okay, if the repo is already exist, if the repo is already exists, okay, it will not clone. Okay, if not, it will clone it for the first time. Okay, if the repos already exists, it will not clone. So git push is, it is used to push the local repo changes to remote repository. Similarly, we also have git pull. Git pull we call it as. So pull means we are pulling something. What we are pulling here, git pull will bring the changes from a remote repository and merges to local repo automatically. Okay, so just a minute please. Sorry. Hello. I'm audible.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes.
Yes. Now we'll continue with git pull. So pull represents we are pulling something, means what we are pulling here. So git pull will bring the changes. See, name itself is saying git push, git pull, and all. So we are pushing something, pushing local changes, push the changes, local repo changes to the remote repo. And similarly, git pull is basically pull. I mean, bring the changes. Git pull will bring the changes. Git pull will bring the changes. Okay, so git pull will bring the changes from remote repository, from remote repo, and merges it to local repository automatically. Merges it to local repo automatically. Okay, so when we use git pull, so it brings the changes from remote repo and merges it automatically in local itself. Okay, so how do we use a command? Git pull followed by URL of the repo URL. We will also keep this repo URL. Okay, and similarly we also have git fetch. Okay, so what this fetch will do, git fetch will bring the changes from remote repo and stores it in separate branches. Okay, how it will stores it in separate branches? Suppose if you have multiple branches in a repository, so it will bring all the changes with all the branches and stores it in separate branch. Okay, git pull is basically it will bring all the changes and merges it automatically. But if in case of git fetch, so it will also bring the changes from remote to local, and it merges it into the and bring the changes from remote repo and stores it in a separate branch. Okay, and we can review the changes and merge it if it required. Okay, so git fetch will bring the changes, from remote repo to remote repository and stores it in separate branch. So we can review the changes. We can do the changes and merge it if it is required. Merge it if it is required. Okay, so basically so git fetch will bring the changes from remote repository and stores it in the separate branch, and we can review the changes and merge it if it is required. Okay, let's merge. We can review the changes and merge if it is required. Okay, so when we use git fetch, all the changes with respect to branches, so it will get pulled locally when we use git fetch. Okay, so that is the command here. So here we use git fetch command git fetch followed by repo URL. Okay, directly we can use git fetch. So instead of pointing it in a remote or repo URL, because we are already set the remote repository. Okay, now let's play around with git clone and git push pull and fetch. Okay, now I'm going to clone the repository. Okay, so what is the definition for clone? Clone is basically it will bring the changes from remote repo to local workspace for the first time, right? For the first time in the sense, so it will bring the changes for the first time. So I'll click on code here. Okay, I'll go with SSH because we have added the key already. I have generated locally and added under SSH keys. I have copied the SSH link over here. I'll go to my folder cd to git. Okay, there is nothing in my folder. Clear the screen. So I'm going to use git clone followed by URL of the repository. Correct, this is what we use in our definition, right? So git clone followed by URL of the repository. So we can use either SSH or HTTPS link. Correct, so here I'm using it as SSH. Okay, so if I click on this, so it is saying cloning into pipeline E2E. So this is my repository where I have in my remote, right? So before cloning was the pipeline E2E was existing, because remember that I have deleted it locally, correct? And I have cloned it. Before cloning, I have checked there are no files and folders were existing, right? Now I have cloned it freshly. If I do ls, this repository came into my local, right? If I go here in remote, okay, so if I open this pipeline E2E, I can see all the folders in my GitLab repository, correct? src, Terraform, demo, test, there are some folders, okay, and CME-client, Dockerfile, Jenkins, my build scripts and all, right? So if I go to cd, so it will clone as a folder. Okay, cd to pipeline. If I go inside this pipeline, if I do ls, so am I able to see all cmake.ls.txt, readme, script.sh, test.sh, dockerfile, build.sh, sooner project.properties, tests, and also some of the folders as src, Terraform, demo, and web app. There are folders, all the folders will came into my local, right? Are you following with me?
Yes, sir.
So whatever we have in the remote, we also clone it to locally. Suppose according to the clone definition, okay, if the repo is already exist, it will not clone, correct? How do we do that? Again, I'm gonna clone code, copy this URL. Okay, so I'll go out of this folder. I'll use the same git clone followed by the repository. So what I'm getting here? What I'm getting here?
Already exist.
So it will clone for the first time. The definition itself is saying it will bring the changes from remote repo to local workspace for the first time. If the repo is already exist, it will not clone. So it will say that already is existing. So this is about the git clone, right? Now, if I have the changes, okay, if I go to cd pipeline E2E is my repository, okay, so the branch in my GitLab is main. Okay, here if you can see, the branch is main. Okay, if you click on this code, under branches, and this is my default branch. The default branch in Git is either master main, correct? In my GitLab, main is my default branch. Getting? Okay. Similarly, if I go to cd to this repository, if I do git branch, so if I do git branch -a is the command where we can list all the branches, the hidden branches, right? So including main branch, there are other branches as well, right? Correct. So there is a branch called develop, There is a branch called develop branch, right? Let's go here. There is a branch called one repo deleted, correct? One repo deleted. And also there is a branch called feature slash sensor. There is a branch called feature slash sensor, only feature slash sensor, right? Feature slash, yes, here only the feature slash sensor. And there is another called feature slash ruby1, feature slash ruby1. And also there is a branch called develop, and here is the branch called develop. And also there is a branch called develop branch again, develop branch. Okay. And also there is a branch called feature slash sensor 2, feature slash sensor 2. Okay. And only the branch. So these are all the branch. We can see it in remote, and we can also see this in local as well, correct? So you can use this command to list all the branches. Git branch -a, git branch -a used to list all the hidden branches. Okay. And now we understood about the clone, right? Now what I will do, I will modify some of the changes in locally. That means so I'll open file 3, code file 3. Okay. So everybody configured Visual Studio.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What about others? Okay. Okay. I have opened this file 3. Okay. So what I will do some changes. I'll remove this first line. I'll keep the shebang. I'll start my set-x. Okay. Set-x. I'll just use this to run the script in debug mode. File 3. So only I'm editing it in file 3. Okay. I'll save this. Control S. And I'm gonna close it here. Okay. And I'm going to use git log one line. Okay. Remember that one line is in, there are a lot of commits in this repository. I'm in main branch. The main branch head was this. This is my commit ID, means rename Docker file to Jenkins. Okay. I mean, don't worry about this technical part. I'll explain this later when we're discussing about in Jenkins and Docker. If I click on the under code, if you can click on the commits. So what was the latest commit in main branch? What was the latest commit in main branch? Rename Docker file. Okay, I think spelling mistake. Okay. So rename Docker file to Jenkins, correct? This is what the latest commit. So the latest commit we also can see in local as well. If I run git log one line. Now I wanted to commit this file changes, file 3. Okay. How do I do? If I do git status, okay, file 3 is getting modified. I'm going to use git add dot and git. So what I'm doing here, this repository, we cloned it locally, means it is what? We are running all git operations. So where is our bare and non-bare repo? Okay. So we can run all the git operations here. It is a local repo. We can modify all the git operations. So what operations I'm doing it now? Git add and commit. Okay. So this pipeline E2E, when we came it locally, we call it as non-bare repo. Similarly, the pipeline E2E, when it goes to remotely, we call it as bare repository. Are you able to understand this bare and non-bare repository? We can run all the git operations. What are our git operations? Our git operations are git add, commit, rebase, revert, reset, drop a commit, edit the commit message. All are our git operations, right? There are a lot of operations that we worked on it, right? So that we call it as non-bare repo. The similar repository we came into locally, we call it as non-bare repo. The repo, when we push to the remotely, we call it as bare repository, because it is a remote repository. We cannot run any git operations. Only we can do push and pull, right? Let's check the status. So now I have added it. Now I'll have to commit that, right? Git commit -m. For the identification, I'm just adding updated file3, updated file3 for debug mode, right? I have added set-x, correct? So we can also keep identification in the commit message itself. Updated file3 for debug mode. Okay, so I have committed it. Now, how do I push? So what is the command to get pushed it to remotely? So we have cloned it, right? Now how do we need to push to remote? Because if you keep it in locally, if your machine get crashed, your complete code or complete data will get crashed, right? Correct. So how do we push? Git push followed by the URL. Okay, no need to point the URL because the URL is already set. How do we set? How do we check the URL? How do we check the remote repository? To check the remote repository, we have a command called git remote -v. Naveen MB.
Sir,
Naveen MB. Here is your command. Okay.
uh,
This used to. I'll show this command. Check the remote repo. Okay. So how do we check git remote -v? Just run git remote -V. Ah. Git remote -v. Ah. Sorry. Lowercase v. Git remote -v. So git remote -v origin. Origin represents where we cloned. We cloned it from this pipeline E2 only, right? This is your remote repository. And when you just use, you can also fetch to the same repository. You can also do push to the same repository. How do we push? Just run git push -f. -f represents force push. Okay. So I'm gonna run this. Okay, what we are getting here, enumerating objects and counting objects, 100%, 5 out of 5. So when you see this output only, your changes will get moved to the remotely, and delta compression and everything you are able to see, and your data will get pushed to the remote repository, correct? Now what was my latest commit? Git log one line. The latest commit was updated files for debug mode. Okay, earlier the head was pointing here, correct? Now when we commit this file3, so this was the latest. How do we check this in remotely? Once we push, we go to GitLab, refresh this because this was the latest. Refresh this page. So is this repository get updated? Is this repository get updated? Because this is what we pushed it to remote. So this we call it as git clone and push. Okay, now clear with this? And also I wanted to show one more, git push -f. You can also use to push this, git push -f. Force push also you can use. Okay, and also I have one more command, git commit -amend -no -edit. So it is used to edit the dummy commit. Okay, so how do we use this git commit amend? So let's say you have this commit ID of 022D4D. So when I use git commit amend means amend is basically creating a dummy commit instead of creating a files in each particular commit. So it will amend the latest commit. Okay, git commit amend no space edit. That means this command will not be able to edit the latest commit message and amend the latest commit. Okay, so if I run this, I think there is no space. There should not be a space. Now if I run git log one line, so as this commit ID get changed, updated file 3 for debug mode. Earlier it was 022D4. When we use amend, only it will be applicable for latest commit. So not in any of other commits. So is it updated? Means no edit means don't. So it will say git to not to edit the commit message. No edit. Okay. Amend the latest head. Amend always works for where your head is pointing. Okay, so if I rerun this again, so again the commit ID will get changed. So instead of modifying it file, we can create a dummy and we can edit the latest commit ID and we can push it to remote. So do you see, is it get changed?
Yes.
Okay, now we can also do this push, git push -f. So here we are creating dummy commit without creating any files, without committing it on top of existing commits. So only the commit ID is changing. Okay, so this we do to trigger a build, to trigger a dummy build, to trigger a dry run. Okay, so I'm gonna give this command. Oh, I've already given here. No edit. Okay, so edit the dummy commit. Okay, any questions on this? And similarly we also have git pull, right? Git pull and git fetch. Suppose if you modify a file in remotely, so how do we bring the changes to local? Suppose I have the file called file3. I'll open it here in remotely and I'm gonna click edit single file. Okay, I'm editing it remotely. After this set -x, I'm gonna use if. I'll open some braces. If $? Equals to 0 is my condition. Let's say it is my condition. Okay, I'm committing it here in remotely. I'm going to click on commit changes. So we need to provide the commit message, adding conditional loop in file3, right? Adding conditional loop file3. So here I can see two options: commit to the current main branch, commit to the new branch. Let's keep it as commit to the main branch only, because I'm editing it in the main branch itself. Right here, click commit changes. Remember that adding conditional loops, the latest commit is get updated. So what is my latest commit? Adding conditional loop in file3. Okay, if I go locally, what is my latest commit? My head pointing is here, updated file3 for debug mode, right? This is my head ID, head hash ID, right? So in remotely updated file3 for debug mode, on top of that there is one more, correct? on top of updated file 3 for debug mode, there is one more commit. This commit is not up to dated in locally. How do I update it? How do I update it?
Git pull.
Pull represents git pull will bring the changes from remote repo and merges to local repo automatically. Okay, just run git pull. Okay, so now is it get up to dated? See here, you can see fast forward and file 1 changed 3 insertions. Okay, if you run git log one line, git log one line, is it updated here? Adding conditional loop in file 3. Is it up to dated? The head was up to dated. Is the head is updated here?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So that's how the pull works. Similarly, how fetch works. Suppose if I have multiple branches. Okay, so I'll go to the branches here. Okay, I will edit in the main branch. Okay, I will edit any of the file here. Okay, I'll edit readme.md. I'll click on edit single file. Okay, I'll be editing it in the main branch. Okay, I'll just remove this one hash and click on commit changes, remove hash in readme in readme.md, correct? In readme.md file. This let's commit it for main branch. Click on commit changes. So here is the one change that I made it in main branch, right? Again, I'll go to branches. I'll go to the feature / sensor 2. Again, I'm gonna edit the another file 3. I'll click on edit single file, and okay, this branch will not be having those changes. Okay, I think it's not merged. Okay, so I'm gonna use again if, let it be if. Okay, I'll keep only if. Okay, commit changes, file 3 is modified. File 3 is modified in feature 2 branch, correct? Okay, let's see what happens. I'm committing it in sensor 2. In sensor 2 branch, let's click on commit. So there are 2 different changes in 2 different branches, right? Now, what was my fetch definition? So git fetch will bring the changes from remote repository and stores it in separate branch. We can review the changes and merge it if it required. So suppose if you modified multiple changes in multiple branches, so git fetch, when we use git fetch, it brings the changes with respect to the branches. Okay, so if I use git fetch, so it will bring all the changes with respect to the branches. So here you can see origin / main and origin / feature / sensor 2. Do you see this 2 branches is get up to dated when we use git fetch? Are you guys following me? Now which file I modified? If I do git log one line, okay, so remember that adding conditional loop in file 3 updated, this is in the main branch, correct? Adding conditional loop in file 3. let's switch to this git checkout. Git checkout followed by the branch. Okay, so if I do git log one line, so are we able to see file 3 is modified in sensor2 branch? Is it get updated with this branch by using git fetch? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Clear with so clear with git pull, fetch, clone, and push with everybody.
Hello, sir. In git fetch, whatever the modified file that will not get updated in the local, right? When I fetch it.
No, it is get updated. Then only it the committed will come here. Otherwise, it won't come. Okay, if I do cat, which file I modified? Cat, which file?
File 3.
File 3, right?
File 3.
File 3. See, I just added only if, correct?
Yes.
And similarly, if I switch to the git checkout main, same file, right? File 3.
Read.
What
Read me,
was
sir.
my file? Sorry.
Read me, sir.
Oh, readme. Correct. Readme.md. So I have removed one hash in first line, correct? This is very lengthy. Okay, where I removed here, right?
Yes,
I think I have removed one hash,
One more.
right? So the changes which get reflected, correct? So
Then
whatever-
while we pull also the same action happens, right? So what is the difference here?
that's
Pull
what
and fetch.
difference is. So it will bring the changes from remote repo and merges it automatically. Okay, but in fetch it will also bring the changes from local to remote, but the difference here is it will stores it in separate branch. So it will
But it is not merged when now you fetch it, right, sir?
Hmm.
Is it not merged?
No, it will not merge. It will fetch and keep it in separate branch. That's why I have modified two branches, right? Remember that I modified in sensor 2 and modified in main branch.
Okay.
So pull, it will bring the changes and merges it automatically. But in case of fetch, it will not merge. So it will keep with its separate branch only. Because see, if I do cat, if I do cat in main branch, okay, if I do cat file 3. So are we able to see that if?
Yes.
So if I do cat file 3, do you see the difference of same file in main branch and the sensor 2 branch?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Clear?
Okay, sir. Yeah.
Yes. Any questions and any doubts?
What is bare repo, sir? What is the use case, sir?
So bare repo is basically, so it is a remote repository. We cannot run any Git operations. Bare repo is basically this only. So the repository, when you keep it in remotely, itself is a bare. It's a bare repo, right? Can we do revert in remotely?
No.
Or can we do edit the commit message in remotely? No, right?
Commit message. No, you
So
cannot.
how do we make this to non-bare repo? We clone it locally and we modify whatever the changes that we wanted, and we again push it to remote. The same repository, when it comes to locally, we call it as non-bare. The same repository, when it goes to the remote, we call it as bare repository. Simple.
Okay, okay, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
And normally we call it as remote repo and local repo. That's it. Don't worry about where and non-where. You
Okay.
say as local repo and where non-remote repo.
Okay. And while you change the file and push, right, you use the -f, so forcefully.
Yes.
Why forcefully, sir? Like you could have pushed normally only, right?
You can also use this force push. Sometimes there might some network issues, or I'll use git push -f. Or either you can also use git push followed by your URL of the repository. Anything, it
Okay.
works.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Any questions again? Any doubts? Clear with everybody? Shabas.
Yes, sir.
Sir, practice purpose we can use it
my
in
repo?
your repo. Your repo.
You want to
can
use my
it,
repository?
We can use.
You can use it,
fine,
but you can also create it from your end. Suppose if you create from your end, and it will be helpful for you to work on this permanently. So just you go here. Okay, say like this is your account, right? Okay, create a project here. Click on create project. Okay, and it will give create a blank project and give the project name as sensor and keep it for public or private. You can keep. So your project will get created with this name called sensor, and if you go here in your name, and you can see the sensor project is get created. If you click on this, you clone it to locally, copy the SSH once you configured the keys. Okay, go back to the folder, use git clone followed by URL of the repository, and the cloning into sensors get cloned. The similar repository, it comes to locally, we call it as non-bear. The same file, or so the same repository, when we push to the remote, we call it as bear repository. Okay, if I go to sensor, so nothing was created, it is empty. Only the readme.md is initialized when we're creating a repository, correct? So if I create touch operations .sh, okay, and if I open this operations.sh, so the Visual Studio will get opened. So where I'm editing some commits. Okay, I'm gonna add shebang hash explanatory /bin/bash. I'm gonna edit this and I'm gonna close this. I'll have to add and commit git status git add dot and git commit -m, creating initial commit. Let's keep the initial commit. And if I do git push -f, so my operations.sh file should get pushed to the remote. So if I go here, if I open sensor, if I refresh this, I should be get created my script operations.sh, correct? And if I click on this, so I should be able to see the shebang. And if I click on this code under commits, you should be able to see the commits which is getting initiated, right? The very first commit was initial commit, and the second is mine, because the initial commit is created with the readme file. So whatever the changes, Git is basically, it will track each and every part, each and every task in your repository. If you do some changes, it will get tracked. Okay, that's why. So you getting this?
Yes, sir. Sir, how to use fork?
Here is the fork. If you just click on this repository of the fork is get created. The copy of this repository. You can keep use your namespaces. If you're reflecting your namespace, you can use your name. Suppose if I want to use my another account, which is 077, the project will get created and fork the project. The fork it's getting created in my another account. See? Do you see this? The fork is nothing but the copy of the repository where we can, instead of keeping it in branching strategy, we fork the project. And this is my another account 077. Okay, clear? Clear with this, everybody? And I'll go to my account, projects. Okay, these are all my projects is getting created. You guys want to use my project, because don't touch any of the files. Okay, you can also fork my project, but you cannot fork it. But I kept it as for privately. Let me change the settings. Let's make it public. To settings, repository. Let's make this repository for public. Default branches, mirror repository, repository maintenance. General. Let's make this repository visibility and features. Let's make it private. Sorry, public. I'm not able to make it publicly. Then you can be able to fork it, but you can have your account and get created, and you have your script, right? Shell scripts, correct? All the scripts that you created and all the commands that you ran, and you might worked on 100 scenarios, right? Create all the scripts, push it to remote. I'll give an assignment today then.
So few of them I just cleared, like
What happened?
I don't have all the scripting thing, because of the storage problem I just cleared it.
Okay. You cleared all the script.
I mean, after practicing, I was just clearing it. Just,
You
as
copy
I
from your
as I
assignment
called.
itself. You copy, you recreate it, and create one by one and push it to remote. That's it. You shared assignment, right?
Yeah, yes, sir.
You copy from the assignment, and maybe you can type it, and you can push it to remote. So I want everybody get created with an account, and all the 100 scripts, the assignment, the one which you have done before Git, all the scripts should be pushed to the remote. And I want this screenshot from everybody. Each commit for each script. Okay, at least I want it for 20-30 commits. This screenshot I wanted.
Sir, what if we push everything together, sir?
You can push it together. You can create multiple scripts, and you can. But
I will get only one commit ID, sir.
no. Wait. Each commit you can keep it for each script, so that you can create 20 script and push it at once. That's it.
Okay.
Create multiple commits, push it at once,
Okay. Yeah.
and modify remotely, pull it locally.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Yes. So I'll give an assignment. So everybody should work on it. No. Okay. Any questions and any doubts, guys? ಎಲ್ಲೂ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿದೆಯಾ?
ಪುಲ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಏನಾದ್ರು
ಗಿಟ್ ಪುಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ.
ಓಕೆ
ಯಾಕಂದ್ರೆ ಗಿಟ್ ಪುಲ್ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡುತ್ತೆ, ನೀನು ರಿಮೋಟ್ ಚೇಂಜಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ಲೋಕಲ್ಗೆ ಪುಲ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೆಯಾ. ಸಿಂಪಲ್.
ಓಕೆ
So when you are doing it locally, when you are merging it, so what is merge conflict?
ಲೈಕ್ 2 ಬ್ರಾಂಚಸ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಸೇಮ್ ಫೈಲ್ ಲೈಕ್ 2 ಲೈಕ್ ಬ್ರಾಂಚು ಲೈಕ್ ಮೇನ್ ಬ್ರಾಂಚಲ್ಲಿರೋ ಫೈಲು ಮತ್ತು ಅದು ಲೈಕ್ ಕಾಪಿನ ಇನ್ನೊಂದು ಡೆವಲಪರ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಮರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ಸ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ.
What is conflict? What it is?
ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗಿಲ್ಲ
Huh?
ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಲೈಕ್ ಏನಂತ ಕೇಳ್ತಿರೋ
ನಾನು ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಿದ್ದೀನಪ್ಪ, ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ.
ಲೈಕ್ ಅಂದರೆ ಸೇಮ್ ಫೈಲ್ ಎಡಿಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಲೈಕ್ ಈವನ್ ಬ್ರಾಂಚಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಅದೇ ಫೈಲ್ನ ಮತ್ತೆ ಮೇನ್ ಬ್ರಾಂಚಲ್ಲಿ ಮರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ
ನಾಟ್ ಮರ್ಜಿಂಗ್.
ಅಂದರೆ ಹಾಂ
ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋ, ಡೆಫಿನೇಷನ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೋ. ಮರ್ಜ್ ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ ರೆಪ್ರೆಸೆಂಟ್ಸ್ one minute please, 1 minute. Sorry. So the conflicts andre same line of code in a same line with two different branches, correct? Okay. In a same line modify ಮಾಡಿ same in say like there are two branches, branch 1 and branch 2.
ಓಕೆ
Branch 1, 2 will be having a same file 1. That file 1 will be having some 10 lines. Suppose second line ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನೀನು modify ಮಾಡಿ branch 1 ನಲ್ಲಿ similar changes if you do in branch 2, when you get merged with both the branches, you will get conflict. This is what the explanation I wanted from everybody.
ಎಸ್ ಸರ್
Okay, ಈ ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ every concept will get understood for you. Okay, now what happens, how do we resolve that? We need to resolve, we'll reach out to developers, we'll get the right change and they'll discuss and they'll provide a right change, correct?
ಎಸ್ ಸರ್
Later we'll add and merge it. Now in your case, when you are pulling, okay, so where you are pulling from remote.
ರಿಮೋಟ್
So remote ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಬಂದು ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ ಅಷ್ಟೇ.
ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ
So we are not doing any conflicts here. Now same line modification ಏನು ಮಾಡ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಇಲ್ಲಿ.
ಓಕೆ
So now merge ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇಲ್ಲ. Okay, we pulling the changes from remote to locally.
Okay.
We won't get conflicts when we are pulling it, when we do fetch or pull.
ಓಕೆ
So remote ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಏನಿರುತ್ತೆ ಅದು ಅಪ್ಡೇಟ್ ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. That's what the Git completely works on tracking basis.
ಓಕೆ
ಸೊ ನೀನು ಕಾನ್ಫ್ಲಿಕ್ಟ್ ಬರ್ತಿದೆ, ನಿನ್ಗೆ ಎರರ್ ಇದೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಯು ಆರ್ ಡೂಯಿಂಗ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ರಾಂಗ್ ಅಂತ.
ಓಕೆ ಓಕೆ ಸರ್
It itself will suggest some commands when you are working. So remember that ನೀನು ಅಬ್ಸರ್ವ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ಯಾ? ಸೊ ನೀನು ಕಮಾಂಡ್ ರನ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಸಜೆಸ್ಟ್ some of the commands.
ಅಟ್ ದ ಬಿಲೋ ಆಫ್ ದಿ ಲೈಕ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಷನ್ ಸರ್ ಲೈಕ್ ಆಫ್ಟರ್
Yes.
ಎಕ್ಸಿಕ್ಯೂಟ್ ಆದ ಕೆಳಗೆ ಗಿಟ್ ಸಮಥಿಂಗ್ ತೋರಿಸುತ್ತೆ.
Yes. So I have ran one command, right? One command run ಮಾಡಿದೆ ನಾನು. See, there are a lot of commands in Git
Yeah.
based on your requirement. Okay.
Okay.
So simple amend command run ಮಾಡೋದಕ್ಕೆ it will suggest lot of commands here, right? These commands we use based on the requirement. That's it.
ಓಕೆ
So ಏನಾದರೂ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಇದೆಯಾ, ಡೌಟ್ ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಇಲ್ಲ ಸರ್ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ಇದ್ದಿದ್ದು ಲೈಕ್ ಮರ್ಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ನೀವು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್ ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ಎನಿ ಲೈಕ್ ಫುಲ್ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮರ್ಜ್ ಆದಾಗ ಅಂತಂದ್ರಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಡೌಟ್ ಇದೆ.
ಫುಲ್ ರಿಕ್ವೆಸ್ಟ್ ಮರ್ಜ್ ಆದಾಗ
ಅಂದರೆ ಲೈಕ್ ಪುಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಲೈಕ್ ಇಟ್ ವಿಲ್ ಕಾಪಿ ದ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಕೂಡ ಸೊ ರಿಮೋಟ್ ರೆಪಾಸಿಟರಿ ಲೋಕಲ್ ರೆಪಾಸಿಟರಿ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಮರ್ಜ್ ದ ಇದಿತ್ತಲ್ಲ.
you had mentioned pull request. Are you aware of pull request?
ಎಸ್ ಸರ್ ಎಸ್ ಸರ್ ಎಸ್ ಸರ್.
Okay, you worked on pull request as well.
ನೋ ಸರ್ ಟುಡೇ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ವರ್ಕ್ ಇನ್ ಇಟ್ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಐ ವಿಲ್.
How you will work today? I didn't even explain only.
No, you just use the full right there.
I explained only pull, not the pull request.
No, if I will practice if like.
There is a difference in pull request and pull. I mean, don't get confused here. And don't
Sorry.
confuse others as well.
No,
Let me show you. Pull request is here. merge request. In case of GitLab, we call it as merge request. In case of GitHub, we call it as pull request. This is another topic.
Okay, sir. Okay. Sir.
Don't get confused by reading more by yourself. If you read is fine, but
No, sir. I'm just pull like yeah.
you be at pull only. Don't say pull request.
Okay, sir.
And don't get confused as well. Another doubt ಇದೆಯಾ?
ಸರ್ ಇವಾಗ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಅಥವಾ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ನೇಮ್ ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಅಥವಾ ನೀವು ಆ್ಯಡ್ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಕಮಿಟ್ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಏನು ಇದನ್ನ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ, ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ.
ಏನು ಕಮಿಟ್ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಟ್ರ್ಯಾಕ್ ಮಾಡಕ್ ಬರಲ್ಲ?
ಈಗ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಅಥವಾ ಡಿಲೀಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿರಲ್ಲ, ಸೊ there is no track on it, right? Whatever tag you will do that.
No, when we create a tag, there is a track, right? And when we delete, there is a track. Suppose, let's say, if I do git tag -a, there are okay. So see, ಇವಾಗ ನೀವು ಟ್ಯಾಗ್, ಸಪೋಸ್ ಇವಾಗ ರಿಮೋಟಲ್ಲಿ ಎರಡು ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಇದೆ, ರೈಟ್? ಅಂಡ್ ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಇಸ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟೆಡ್ ಆನ್ ಟಾಪ್ ಆಫ್ ದಿಸ್. ಯು ಆರ್ ಏಬಲ್ ಟು ಸಿ ದಿಸ್ ಕಮಿಟ್. ಈ ಕಮಿಟ್ಗೆ ನಾವು ಟ್ಯಾಗ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತೀವಿ. Okay, and similarly for this as well. Suppose if you delete this, we are able to track it, right? So incremental version of a tag. Suppose version 100 and version 200. Version, the initial commit was 100, the incremental of 1 is 2, and incremental 2 of is 3. So that's how tags are getting tracked. So we do also follow some strategy in the Git for the branching strategy that I'm going to explain in further session. Okay, and we can also see the tags which we get created. There are a lot of commits in my repository. So there are some old commits as well. So otherwise I've shown you that. See here in the tags you can see, right?
Yeah.
So we get tracked. Suppose if you delete this 100, we might ask where is 100 tag if you're on this GitLab. Suppose we should get tracked out of it, right? And the next phase will create it as 300, and next on top of 3 we would have created 400, correct?
Yes.
Everything will be tracked in Git. Okay, so fine, then let's connect tomorrow and today at Q&A for evening at 7 o'clock. Okay, thank you. Let's evening and tomorrow for class. Bye-bye.
Bye.